Welcome to Crucial Dialogue, hosted by Reverend Roger Gambrell and Reverend Clinton Thomas, where we discuss pivotal and controversial issues for those that need nurturing and clarity in the faith. Converse with us. Ask any question you want. Meet us online and join the dialogue. This is Crucial Dialogue.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Crucial Dialogue. My name is Reverend Clinton Thomas. I am your co-host for today's discussion of Crucial Dialogue. I want to say to those of you that are out there in YouTube, Facebook, in the virtual world, I want to say Happy New Year to you. Glad to see you in 2022 on this first Monday. My co-host, Reverend Roger Gambrell, hopefully will be able to connect with us in a few moments. But until then, we want to welcome our panelists back to the dialogue on today. Let's say good evening to Andy Jackson. Deacon Jackson, tell us how you're doing today.
How's it going, everybody? Happy New Year to the Christian Bible and Crucial Dialogue family. 2022 Crucial Dialogue. Let's see what it do.
Let's see what it do. And as always, back by popular demand, we have with us Princess Firecracker, Sister Sherelle Ross. The show wouldn't be the same without you. How you doing, Sherelle?
I'm doing great. I'm happy to be here. Happy New Year, America. Good to see y'all in this new year.
All right. Well, let's get right to it. So it's a new year. We got things going on. We got New Year's resolutions flying all over the place. People talking about what they're going to do, what they're not going to do, all of that good stuff. But so today's Crucial Dialogue, we're going to talk about the fact that it's a new year, but we're still dealing with the same stuff. It's a new year, but we're dealing with the same stuff. Now, change is inevitable. Things are going to change. Change is, I've heard it said that change is synonymous with life. If you keep living, there's going to be some changes made. I was telling the kids the other day, a year from now, or this time last year, some people were shorter than what they are. They're a little taller now, because of change. And so some people may be a little shorter now than they were this time last year. I don't know. Depends on which side of the track you come from. But change is going to happen. But why is it that Deacon Jackson and Princess, why is it that we have a new year, we got 2022 in the previous years, but why do people still deal with the same stuff? And so we're going to look at it from a couple of different perspectives. But just to get us started, ladies first, Princess Firecracker, why is it that in the new year we're dealing with the same stuff? Help somebody out. Let's get it started.
Well, one thing that we're still dealing with from last year is this COVID. They got a new variant. Everybody make jokes and they call it the Omarion. Next week we'll have the Michael Jackson. Who knows? It's always something with this COVID stuff, and I think people just, I don't know when that's gonna stop. So that's something that we brought in from 2021. And then another thing that when you say New Year, same stuff, a lot of people don't look at the new year as a chance to change. They look at it as it's a new year, but I'm still the same person. And I feel like each year you should want to grow. You should want to change something about yourself, your environment, your surroundings, or anything, even the company you keep. So if you're not willing to grow and change, then of course it'll be the new year and it'll be the same situation.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I think.
Okay, I don't know if you all can hear me. I may be having some technical issues. I kind of lost Princess Firecracker. Deacon Jackson, can you still hear me? Wave your hand
I
like you just
can.
don't care. All right, seem to be having some technical issues. I have a screen, but I can't hear any audio. Say that again.
We can hear you.
Okay. All right. So, Deacon Jackson, if you're able to give us some audio and some video, y'all can hear me. Sister Firecracker, on my screen, it looked like you're doing a TikTok freeze or something. Okay, there we go. All right. That's a lot better. Deacon Jackson, why is it that in this new year, why are people dealing with the same old stuff? Huh? Can help somebody out.
We can't hear you, Andy.
All right. Again, I don't know if you all can hear me. We may be having some technical issues. I don't know if it's on my end or on somebody else's, but my screen is froze, Mr. Producer in the background. It's frozen.
See, it's a new year, and you see how they trying to do us wrong? We getting sabotaged. That's what's happening right now.
You think
But if y'all want
do you think it's
I
an
can.
inside or outside job?
I think it's an outside job. They don't want us to be crucial
Keep it going,
with
sister,
our
because like I said, if
dialogue.
y'all can hear me, I'm having some issues hearing.
They don't want us to be crucial with our
So
dialogue.
let's get in, huh?
No, I was saying they don't want us to be crucial with our dialogue. We starting off the year, we trying to come in strong, and it's an outside job. That's what I was saying. New year, they don't want us to be great.
So let's take it from this approach. We got New Year's resolutions. People making promises. Every year they're going to change their behavior. They're going to change who they hang around. They're going to lose weight. They're going to gain weight or whatever. Why is it that the New Year's resolution is the time that people make the promises? But what's wrong with the February, March, April, May, and so on resolution? Why is it that we have to wait until the new year to make these new promises?
You said, why do we wait till the new year to make new promises? So basically, the new
We are
year
having some
is more
difficulties
like a
on tonight.
chance. Oh, can you hear me? So basically, the new year is more like a chance to, I guess, start over. People see it as, well, I'm gonna wait and lose weight in the new year because it's the holidays. They want to eat cakes and cookies. Thanksgiving and Christmas is 30 days apart. So why start a new workout plan when you just finna mess up again in 30 more days? So people look at the January 1st as a new start. That's why the gym got them new year, new me people.
All right, everybody. Can everybody hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Now, so just apologizing for the technical difficulties, but going into this New Year's, I think that a lot of people, a lot of things will stay the same because we, what the saying say, you don't plan to fail, you fail to plan. And so if you never accomplish your goals from last year, or you never set any goals from last year, then I mean it's inevitable that you're gonna be in the same position that you were last year. So as we go into this New Year's, it's crucial that we take a little time to plan out some goals and some places that we want to be on a progressive level, so that we can measure how we're doing throughout the year versus just running into the New Year's with the same bills and the same debt and the same issues that we had in 2021.
That was a good answer. Oh, and Pastor
But
Gambrell's
yeah,
here now.
What's up, everybody? Y'all
Hey,
hear me?
how are
how's
you
it going, bro?
today?
I'm good. The same old stuff.
Yeah,
And that's what we
the
talking
devil
Boy,
about.
working
y'all,
on
you
us
know what?
today.
These topics, man, y'all be messing with me, man. The same
Well,
old
how you
stuff.
feel about this one?
Well, first of all, you know, we shouldn't be satisfied with the same old stuff, especially if it ain't helping us. I was with Andy 100%. You know, we ought to be seeking to change some things if things are not right. So it shouldn't be the same old stuff if it's not. He said, "Can I hear me?" Okay, I got you. All right, I'll be back. Oh, I thought no one could hear me. What I was saying was I was agreeing with Andy 100% because he was talking about the different things that the different issues we have, and they perpetuate year after year. We ought to be seeking to change and grow some things, And I think as a Christian, especially as a Christian, we ought to always look at our lives in terms of whether or not these things are pleasing to God. I know debt is not pleasing to God, and we should not be acceptable of it. We should be striving to grow in areas where we need to grow in. And so I saw the title and I immediately started laughing, but I'm like, yeah, but but I have to be honest with some things. There are some areas in my life that have been the same, but they need to change. So this is going to be a year where I'm really looking to change some things. Yeah, I hear you, Doc. So I look forward to the discussion. I look forward to just continuing and talking because we definitely need to be looking at how we're going to change things. The same old stuff is not always good.
Yeah, and we're talking about New Year's same stuff, and we want to deal with just like we have clutter in our houses. Some people say I'm going to get rid of the clutter this year. What about the clutter in our lives? Okay, so we got physical clutter and we got spiritual clutter. So how do we help somebody with this new year so that they're not dealing with the same spiritual stuff, the same physical stuff? Why are we holding on to so much stuff physically, and why are we holding on to so much stuff spiritually? Why are we having so much why is it such a struggle to let go?
I think that because we're creatures of habit. We're creatures of habit. We don't like to admit that we live within a system because we have this thing called free will. But I mean, money that you spent out last year, those books closed out. We got a thing called the tax codes, and so you have to reset your financials once a year. But we struggle to do that spiritually, and we struggle to do that, just socially. We wanted to just keep on going and going and going and thinking that, we can continue to do the same thing and expect for different results. I think that's the definition of insanity. But if we actually take a sit back and look at the structure of the system that we have to play in, planning is the key. You can't get from point A to point B. And I think that if we stop measuring other people, we in this microwave society, and we think that, other people's success is determined on how well I did last year. Well, no, how well you did last year should determine on how well you did the year before that, and then the year before that.
That's
and
good.
If you continue to beat yourself, then you will continue to progress. But if we set impossible standard to our lifestyles, then we tend to push ourselves into these wormholes that it's really hard to get yourself out of.
Okay,
and that's
okay.
practical. That's practical.
I think it's comfortability. Comfortability. There it is. Is that a word?
Hey,
So
we had an agreement about those big words. Now, come on.
you got to explain that. You got to explain it.
Yeah, would you break that
So,
down?
I was-
Where yeah, break it down.
Comfortableness. Relaxing. I was saying
I
people
wouldn't
get
even say I wouldn't even say it's comfortable though, because a lot of people can't stand where they at. You know what I mean? Like a lot of
Mhm.
people are
But it's-
frustrated every day, and they get up and they just run through that brick wall every day. And so a lot of people are not comfortable. A lot of people just don't know or don't have the tools, or they're not associating themselves with the right people. That's where the church can come in at and kind of help guide on some of these New Year resolution type deals, that allow us to hold each other accountable. because if you're not holding yourself accountable, or if you don't have accountability partner, then the chances of you succeeding in your goals is harder.
And
But wait, what if the church
I'm sorry.
is
Go
the
ahead. Go
very
ahead, Shirley.
thing back?
Say that again, Sherelle.
I said, what if the church is the very thing that's holding us back? So, like, for example, you know, what if, okay. Wait, hold on, PG. Let's separate the eyebrows. Let me explain. So,
Let's get it on.
He got that angry bird look right now.
I say that because some people can be at the wrong church, and you're not getting fed the proper tools. You know, it's a new year. You need, if I'm at this church, and not saying this one in general, if I'm at a church and I've been paying my tithes, I'm listening to the word, but I'm not feeling growth within myself at the church. Even the people at the church, I'm going to their meetings, we have Bible study, we gather, but I don't feel like I'm getting what I need from this church. And in turn, I'm getting comfortable, I'm getting stagnant, I'm not growing. So what if the church that you're at is what's holding you back? Do you leave? How do you know it's time for you to leave? How do you know what will help you grow?
Let me interject something.
Go ahead.
2 Corinthians 3:18. If you can pull this verse up, Brother Bashar, I sent it to you. Because when we say the church or when we say Christ, there's a standard of growth. A lot of our standards are not spiritual. A lot of our standards are material. A lot of our standards are not even in the realm of Christ. Well, again, Brother Andy brought up that we sometimes set our standard on other people's standard, which I totally agree. But on the other hand, a lot of our standards are not even pointed toward Christ. So Paul says right here, he says, but we all with open face beholding in a glass the glory of the Lord are changed into the same image. That word change means transformed. Metamorphosis it means an inward change. He says from glory to glory. What is that? That word glory means a different level of looking more like Christ. So in other words, my goal should be to look more like Jesus. Even if I'm making more money, if I'm not looking like Jesus, I'm not progressing. You could be making more financially and technically going backwards. So the standard, and now get me wrong, let me find a balance here. There's nothing wrong with growing financially. If you work hard, right, you invest, you save, you discipline, you apply spiritual principles. But on the other hand, there's some discipline needed to grow in Christ. Because Paul does also say in 1 Peter 2:2, he says that you as a babe, you need to desire the sincere milk of the word. So I need the milk, the truth to grow. Does he not say in 2 Peter 3:18, but grow in grace and the knowledge of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. So growing and looking more like Christ should be the ultimate goal of every believer. So in all of my New Year's resolutions, my top resolution ought to be what was my spiritual progress last year? How did I spiritually progress last year? Then, as I go forward into this new year, what are areas in my life where I need to be growing in Christ? Now, I've got some other things. I'm gonna lose weight. My goal is I'm gonna save more money this year. Those are great goals.
The physical and the material stuff. Yeah.
But a lot of times people are not taking into consideration that the most important thing you do in your life, and I'm speaking in terms of kingdom people. I'm not talking about the world right now. As a kingdom citizen, what is your goal as a kingdom citizen? That's something we should always be thinking about. And so it shouldn't be the same old stuff. In other words, if I'm struggling in an area, it could be an area of sin, whatever that struggle is. The question is, in the last 2 years, how has my growth been in that area? Have I taken some steps forward? Am I leaving some stuff behind? Am I still constantly being distracted with the same old stuff? Or am I progressing and growing? So that's a question. That's why he says in Hebrews 12:2 that we are to lay aside every weight and the sin that does so easily beset us. So in other words, am I growing and progressing and looking more like Christ? So that ought to be a thing in our life where we're saying, I don't want the same old stuff. I want more of the glory of God being reflected in my life. So I wanted to say that because I see among people in social media world, everybody making plans and making New Year's resolutions, but very few resolutions are pointing toward looking more like Jesus.
Man, you make a valid point. Let me say to those of you that are watching us out there live, we want to hear your comments. We want to see your comments. We want to know what your thoughts are on the New Year's same old stuff. We want to know what you got to say, what your thoughts are. Reach out to us so you can be a part of this dialogue that we was having. I find it interesting the word accountability came up a second ago. And I think Pastor Gambrell, where people struggle at is if no one's holding you accountable, who's there close to you from a fellowship standpoint that could tell you, hey man, you doing the same, because sometimes those of us that have children, you can tell your child something over and over and over, but somebody else will tell them in one time and they'll get it. I wonder if there's not enough accountability in the body of Christ, and maybe that's why some people are still doing the same stuff even in the new year, because no one's actually saying it to them. I wonder if that's the case.
Let me throw this out. I'm going to ask Andy this question. Andy, if I came to you, let's say for the last 3 years, every so often I'm constantly borrowing money from you, right? What would you immediately be? What would you think? If I'm always borrowing money from you,
$100 at a time.
I would initially, be concerned about, what are you using the money on? Then two, I'll be concerned about how can I help you not have to borrow no money from me no more.
And see, that's what I'm talking about in terms of accountability. Now, guess what? It's going to fall on me to let Andy help me.
Right, yeah. Right.
It's not going to, see, at that moment, well, man, you supposed to be my brother. I could try to throw a guilt trip on Andy, but I'm sure Andy matured up and say, no, Doc, I'm not the one. but I know Andy could offer some help to somebody to say, these are some steps we need to take to move from being a borrower to becoming a lender.
Most definitely.
That's what. So we talk about accountability. I have to lend myself to Andy's tutelage, and even have to tell Andy some things I may not want to tell him, that I'm just bad with my money.
Yeah,
and I agree with the accountability. I think I'm the one that brought it up. I think that when you bring in the church, as far as the body is concerned, I think there is something to be said and some dialogue to be talked about being progressive and changing in the church body, like as a whole. Like, and I'm not talking about what the word says. I'm talking about how the word is being delivered and the events that are set aside and set around the body that can kind of help with the day-to-day or the year-to-year process of developing a spiritual discipline. And so we do a lot of focus at Christian Bible with discipleship classes and things that throughout the year it allows us to kind of break apart from the traditional go to church on Sunday and hear a sermon and do that fellowship, but you actually get a chance to dissect and you got some accountability there where, someone's saying these are the chapters that we're reading. I know we was in one group and they was like, we got homework every day. You know what I mean? And so, every week you coming in, you got homework. And so a lot of people are not comfortable with those type of environments in a church setting. And a lot of it has to do with the system that we work in, or we live in. It tells us you go to work and work, or you go to school and work. Church is one of those in between things. You know what I mean? It's one of those leisure things. And so as we get away from worshiping the school or the education or the paychecks, then eventually it's gonna fall back to Christ. He gonna have the
Come on,
last
God.
word. And so until we can develop more structure inside the body, and I'm not talking about one church, I'm talking about the total body of Christians in this country, to be able to step up and say, look, you know what I mean? We could fight about abortions, and we could fight about gay rights, and we could fight about your traditional conservative views. But if we don't
Mhm.
step up and educate, if we don't step up and give good health care and give good wages, we're not gonna get rid of all the roadblocks that's stopping people from going home and sitting down and saying a prayer every night.
And with that, I wanted to ask Sister Firecracker, you're working on your doctorate degree, right?
Eventually,
I don't know.
yeah.
Okay, you got your postgraduate degree. You got one or two, right? You get your second one.
Yeah, I got my
Okay.
second one.
What accountability do you have for that?
Well, I had to log into class. Mine was online. I had to log in, had to do my homework, had to go to the meetings we had once a week, had to meet with my group. I had to do a lot of work. And if I didn't do it, I would have failed. I'd be a failure.
Mm-hmm.
And
There it
see,
is.
Brother Andy just said we got to think through that attitude in terms of our walk with the Lord. Because whatever
yeah.
subject matter you studied, you've become pretty well versed in it.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if I probably couldn't have a debate with you about it right now. You got the latest research, you've done the work, and so you're well versed and well suited for that subject matter because of the time and energy you put into it. And so in that sense of the same old stuff, is spiritually, whatever walk, this is the same principles we got to apply in our faith. With saying, okay, last year, this is what my walk was. Because I know you got your degree last December, right? This past December, right?
Yes.
So let's go back a year. How far were you away from it?
I was finna drop out. That's where I was a year ago.
You put some work in.
I wasn't. But you know what? A year ago, what I can say was, in that degree, a year ago, I was so frustrated, and I was so fed up with my group members at the time because they didn't know what they was doing. I didn't know what I was doing because we was all learning something new, so it was frustrating. I didn't have nobody I can go to and say, hey, can you help me? So when it comes to that within the faith, sometimes you get frustrated between faith and flesh and spirit. And you need somebody to lean on. You need an accountability partner. I can take accountability and say all day long, hey, I need help. But when you got somebody in the church that can also lean on you and not judge you, that helps as well. Same with school. Once we figured it out, we all leaned on each other though. Because I told them, I said, hey, y'all, I quit. I give up. They said, no, we're going to figure this out. I said, forget this. I got enough to do.
So what about the Christian that says, you know what, I give up?
Well, that's why I asked that question. I said, what if the church is the thing that's holding you back? If you don't have nobody in the church to lean on, you like, hey, look, my flesh is weak. I need you. I need your help. You know what I'm saying? Help me restore my faith. It's easy to lose your faith walk. So if you don't have nobody at that church to lean on, to call, it's easy. So that's why I was saying that I asked that question earlier. So is that a time where you need to decide, hey, do I need to go to a different church, or am I, how do I restore my faith walk if this church in particular isn't helping me?
I wonder sometimes though, if we
real quick.
I'm going to say this, Jackson, and I'm going to come right back to you, okay?
Did I rile y'all up?
No, you're okay.
This
is crucial dialogue. Yeah. So I wonder sometimes though, if we put it too much on other people, that we're not learning, or we're not being taught, or there's no one to lean on, if we're not making ourselves accessible for that, it may not be everyone else's fault. It could be our very own fault. We're not showing ourselves friendly. We're not, when the doors are open for you to leave, people run out, and stuff like that, and you don't just say hi to somebody and find out what the connection might be. So I just wonder that. That's just a thought I had. But Deacon Jackson, come on. What's on your mind?
Well, I was just gonna comment to Sister Sorrell when she last year she said she was about ready to quit, and then
Mm-hmm.
I think we just celebrated you graduating this past fall semester.
December. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
the and I bet you I can almost guarantee you that even when you was at the point that you wanted to quit, it was still a plan. And so
Yeah.
when you get to that point where you're frustrated, if you still have a plan, you can get back on track.
That's right.
And see,
Yes,
Real
sir.
good.
with the
A reference
spiritual,
point.
with the spiritual thing, nobody plans it. And the devil is at work. Just like at the beginning of this meeting or this dialogue, the devil is at work. It's
Yeah.
gonna be things that happen that are gonna throw you off that track. And if you don't sit down and say, well, I went to church 10 times last year, I'm gonna do 20 this year, or and I'm gonna write that down, or I'm gonna go to Bible study, every other week, and then you have a plan. So even if you miss a week, you can get back on track. And so I think with the
Mhm.
church, we could do better with helping with some of those plans. At the
Yeah.
beginning of the year, send out a read the Bible in a year plan. Send out some type of structure that allow the body to be held accountable, I guess you could say.
One of the
And I
things
want
that
to
my
throw this
wife does,
also. Yeah, go
my
ahead.
wife in the youth ministry, she always encourages them. We even did some the other night to do vision boards on a poster
Mhm.
board to give you a reference point as to, okay, because the vision board usually doesn't deal with the past. It's your vision to go forward, and I think that's a good idea too. There are a lot of things that that are used to help children stay focused. I think adults could profit from it also. Just
Most
something as
definitely.
simple as a vision board, a spiritual vision board, might help somebody in the new year stop doing the same stuff. Come on, Pastor Gambrell.
And I was gonna say that if it's a spiritual issue, that's where you have enough people in the ministry where you have to purposely and intentionally reach out
Hmm.
and say,
I
"Can I
agree.
have some questions about my faith? I'm struggling in some areas. I really need you to mentor me." Because you do, you know what? We do this in the world without even thinking about it. If my son's having problems in basketball and he's got to work on ball handling, I'm gonna call this coach and work on a private session. We do this all the time. But in the faith, we don't take it as seriously. And I'm saying that our faith is the most important thing in our lives. It's what keep your life together. That's why the proverbial writer says in Proverbs 4:23, guard your heart with all diligence, because out of it are the issues of life. So if I'm not guarding my heart, in other words, if I'm not engaging in spiritual warfare and growing and understand how to do spiritual warfare, how to maintenance my spiritual life with the Lord, guess what's going to happen? It's going to affect how I handle life. That's why he says you guard your heart with all diligence. Where diligence means with all effort, with all the strength you have, because if you're not diligent in protecting your mind, because all the spiritual warfare is where Satan is targeting your mind. He is targeting to distract you from being what God has called you to be, distracting you from being a Matthew 6:33 Christian. Seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added. He's constantly seeking to distract you. But guess what? How he does it? He does it through your mind. And so then we get into this attitude where I don't know anybody. Yeah, you do. You just won't call them. Or you won't fellowship and really connect with them. And then part of that is you're in your small group, right, for school. Those people said to you, you're not quitting. And you listen to them. Guess what? You come into church, you meet Angelique Gambrell, or you meet Teresa Thomas. You know what they're gonna tell you? Where you been? And see, what you got to do is you can't put up the block and say, I ain't coming back. No, you got to be like, Sister Angelique, you right. I'm not focused right now. See, you got to see. There's some responsibility that we have to humble ourselves. And see, if Andy tells me, if I come to him and I keep borrowing money, Andy said, man, you know what? We got to sit down and go over some stuff. I can't start hiding and talking about, no, I don't want to do all that. Because if I'm serious about growing, I got to let Andy do the ministry unto me. Because just because I'm a pastor don't mean I know everything. Because there's some areas of strength in Andy's life as a deacon and things he deals with in his life can be a tremendous help to me and vice versa. But I have to be willing to let him mentor me if it's necessary. So again, we gotta be willing to humble ourselves and say, hey man, I need your help. If we want to get over some of the same old stuff.
Funny enough, when I was thinking about dropping out, it was funny. I was thinking about dropping out like the day I was thinking about it. I was like, forget this. I'm tired of school. My mom sent me a text in the middle of the day. I'm just so proud of you. Can't wait for graduation. I'm like,
You can't
I'm like,
quit now.
okay, I guess I gotta graduate. So yeah, like you said, it's a lot of people to lean on. I guess, like you said, it's just reaching out, and then also, yeah, accountability. That's accountability. I had to sit back and just take my time. So yeah, I can agree with you on that one.
Mm-hmm. You see, in the time of hey, brother, let me share something real quick. In the time of Jesus, it was unorthodox for any rabbi to choose a disciple. In the time of Jesus, all the disciples sought the rabbi, and the rabbi would approve them. So what you would do as a disciple is you would apply to a rabbi and say, hey, I want to follow you. And the rabbi would say, okay, you can follow me, but you can't. And he'll tell you why. But on the other end, Jesus was choosing his disciples. So what I'm saying to you is that when you're hungry for something and it's a person that have what you want, you got to chase them. You know, because I know, Brother Andy, you do some investing and stuff. Guess what you had to do? So, Brother Andy, what'd you have to do to learn how to invest? So, the Brother Andy, can you hear me? Hold up. Are we good? Yeah. I was just saying to Brother Andy, you know, there's some expertise he has, but how did he get it?
Experience.
Did you get some training from anybody?
Yeah.
There you go.
Life.
He had to go make
But
some
that's
time.
the beauty of us all having. That's the beauty of us all having our own different walks. And so, you know, the biggest struggle as we go through this new year and try to stay focused and stay accountable for the whatever goals it is that we set back to reach this year. You know, we got to make sure that we're being prayerful about it. You know, a lot of times we get to the comfort level of believing that we're the ones that did everything. You know, so I can go down the list of my accomplishments last year and say, you know, I saved this amount of money, or, you know, I went to church this amount of days, or I paid this amount in tithes, and, you know, it's and it'll distract you from what you were saying earlier, Pastor Gambrell, is that, you know, you could be on paper the perfect person, but, you know, spiritually just jacked up because you're not taking that time to be humbled and say, you know, thank you for allowing me to save this money, or thank you for allowing me to have a dependable vehicle to make it to church, or to, you know, get to the whatever it is that you decided that you needed to do this year. I think that if we're mindful and prayerful, we'll be a lot more prosperous.
Amen.
All right. Can y'all hear me okay? I got a thumbs up and a nod. So, in summary, how do we this crucial dialogue? How do we help somebody that's in this new year, 2022, and they're dealing with the same stuff? We'll go around the room. I'll start with you, Sister Firecracker. How do you help somebody in this new year that's dealing with the same stuff that they was dealing with in 2021, and they drug it over across uh, December 31st into 2022? How do you help somebody with that?
Well, if we go back to talking about when I was about to quit school, I quit. I was finna quit last December. So going into that following January of 2021, I realized there were some things I had to change. I had to study more. I
Mm-hmm.
had to more time and dedicate it towards school instead of
Mm-hmm.
trying to rush it or just squeeze it in. I had to literally make time. So when you want to change and grow, and with that, I ended up getting, straight A's and graduated, all that good stuff. But if you want to grow and you want to change, whether it be entrepreneurship, spiritually, if you want to read more of your word, you have to dedicate a certain amount of time, quiet time, to just that task. And that's the only
Mm-hmm.
way you're going to grow. So I just encourage everybody to cut out, maybe an hour a day, cut out for some quiet time, which will, with religion, with faith, with you and God. With your other tasks, just cut out some time and plan accordingly.
Mhm.
That's what I think. I think
Okay.
that'll work.
Oh, I hope that helps somebody out there listening to us. Deacon Jackson, how do you help somebody in this new year, 2022, drug some baggage across the line from 21 to 22? It's a new year and they're dealing with the same stuff. Help somebody out.
Well, I would say first of all, just remember that you know who you are, and be realistic about where you're trying to go for 2022. Understand that you are flawed and are a sinner, so that you're not expecting perfection. Everybody don't go and get 100% on the test, but the key is to try and put forth your best effort. So
Mm-hmm.
if you're looking for growth this year, I would
Mm-hmm.
say first and foremost, keep God first. Set you a plan and go for it. You know, you are going to be your biggest competition this year, and just see if you can beat you.
Okay. Pastor Gambrell, help us out. Someone drug a bunch of baggage from 21 into 22, spiritual, physical, whatever it may be. How do we help them in this new year not to be dealing with the same old stuff?
I love what Sister Firecracker said and what Deacon Andy said. Two practical responses, and I'm gonna even go even more practical. Brother Andy said you need to identify where you're going.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're talking about wanting to be more, let's just say your goal is to be much more used of God in the kingdom. My goal this year is to invite one person to church every week, but I want to see one person join this church through my invitation every month.
Okay.
That's my goal. I want to see someone join this church. So then from that point, what are my steps? My steps are I need to talk to people. I need to use cards, whatever cards we have to invite people, and then follow up. So from there, but then behind that, I need to pray because there's spiritual warfare there. So there's some things I have to be willing to do. If I've got a goal, what am I doing to make sure that goal comes to pass? And I need to look back at my goal. Am I fulfilling it? So if you set whatever that goal is, you need to do some checkpoints every 2 months. Do your checkpoints
Mm-hmm.
just to make sure you're fulfilling that goal. So good discussion today because I don't want to be doing the same old stuff, especially if it's not honoring God. So great discussion today.
All right. I agree with all three of you. Thank you for sharing your thoughts on this idea of a new year and same old stuff. And I really believe, in closing out this discussion, if we'll seek to deepen our relationship with God, if we'll seek to worship God the way he deserves to be worshiped, I really believe it'll change how we respond to God. And when we respond to God in a way that is acceptable in his sight, it will cause us to change, and it will cause us to trim some fat off of our lives. And we won't drag some of this same old stuff from one year to the next, or sooner than that, from one day to the next. And so it'll help us to get fit spiritually, which in turn, I hope it'll help us to get fit physically, and we can do the work of the Lord. Amen. So this has been a great dialogue on New Year's, same stuff, and we hope that we've helped somebody out with this discussion. Thank you, Princess Firecracker. Thank you, Deacon Jackson. And to my co-host, as always, glad to have you. You're such an inspiration to this dialogue. Folks, we hope you'll join us at the same crucial time on the same crucial channel next time on Crucial Dialogue. I'm your co-host, Clinton Thomas. Y'all have a good night. We'll see you. God bless you.
This podcast is made possible by listeners like you. Make sure you never miss a show by joining us on Mondays at 6 p.m. by going to our website, powerhouseoflove.org, our YouTube and Facebook channel, or the Google and Apple Podcasts. Hope you tune in next time.